Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for the fourth and final day of my sun hat, my upcycled, recycled sun hat sessions. My name is Crispina French, and I am a textile recycling artist, activist, entrepreneur, and I like to call myself a used clothing alchemist. People often ask me, like, what does that actually mean? And I don't know. I made this up a while back because it kind of really helped me kind of be able to explain what I do quickly, but then I realized it was a little confusing. So a used clothing or textile waste alchemist is someone who takes scrap fabric or used clothing that's been discarded, that's beyond its previous use, like maybe not useful anymore, holes, stains, whatever, and turn that into something awesome, giving it a second or sometimes third life. So that's what I do, and I love to inspire people to join me on that mission. So today is the fourth day in my sun hat sessions where we are using recycled, upcycled fabrics found. Most of the fabrics I have used for this project are from discarded clothing, and we made some sun hats. So I started on Thursday. It was 4 days total, and today is our final day. Has anybody been here all 4 days? I'd love to know more about who's out there watching. One of the things I kind of prefer about Zoom is that I can't see who's out there, and I would love to like give you a thumbs up and see what you've made, and give you any tips or tricks that you might be stumbling with so that you can finish your project. I've actually got 3 samples with me here that I made for this project, and these are all complete now. So this one is made with kind of a very low nap, almost like a velvet fabric on the outside. That's an upholstery fabric scrap. Same with the inside. So this one's actually all upholstery fabric scraps that I get from my friend who has a beautiful upholstery shop. Nice wide brimmed. This is a little, I would have preferred this if I had used interfacing in the brim so that it would hold its shape a little bit better and shade my head or my shoulders a little bit more than it does. So I have a question for you guys. Is this the first time that you've created something using old clothing? Are you have you used used clothing or fabric scraps to create things in the past? Let me know. Put something up in the comments if you're out there listening, and even if you haven't followed along with this whole series and you're just here for the first time, I'd love to know more about like your creative process. Are you a textile creative? Is it something that you aspire to be? Is it something that you're into and you do all the time? So it helps me kind of understand how I can best serve people. So it's really helpful information. So I wanted to show you, this is the hat that I made. I sewed these 2 hats primarily with the sewing machine. There was a little bit of hand stitching on the gray one, but this was all machine sewn. And I thought, you know what, there's a lot of people out there who follow along who may or may not have the use of a sewing machine. So I stitched this linen bucket hat using all hand stitching, except for I did top stitch the brim this morning on a sewing machine. I was going to do it by hand, and then I was just like, I don't have time to finish that before today's session, and I really wanted to get it done to show you guys. So all hand sewn. You could totally do the hand sewing on the brim as well if you don't have a sewing machine available to you. But you can combine the 2 as well. It's kind of a nice look. And this one's reversible, so it reverses to the super cool African batik print that I found in a thrift shop. So, and actually, this is a kind of belated Father's Day gift to my hubby because he is sun averse. He works outdoors, and he just the sun really gets to him. So I think this is going to be a well-received gift. So I just want to check in. Okay, cool. Mary F., you actually, scraps for quilts is what you've used in the past. That's awesome. That's a great way to start. And actually, that textile waste alchemy or used clothing alchemy that we were talking about a little bit ago, a lot of people are introduced to that train of thought and that way of seeing materials from quilting. Quilting is kind of a traditional reuse of worn out fabrics, mainly found in clothing or other household textiles, if it's sheets or dish towels or whatever, blankets. Those are often kind of the base of quilts and have been for generations. Has anybody seen the Gee's Bend quilts? Gee's Bend is a place in Alabama that I aspire to visit at some point before I die, where they make the most incredible quilts. A lot of them are made out of old work jeans, and there was a corduroy factory nearby, so they use the scraps from the corduroy factory there, and the tradition continues today. So a lot of the newer quilts are made with maybe less recycled content or different recycled content anyway, but there's certainly really beautiful and really worth checking out if you haven't had the opportunity to do that. Speaking about opportunities, I want to share with you something super cool, and then I'm going to run through the comments and see if anybody has questions that I can answer. So the sun hats, right? We did the sun hat sessions. It's a 4-part series, and if you, like I said, if you haven't had a chance to watch all of them, there's you can scroll back in the feed that you're watching, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, and access the previous sessions. And if you finish a sun hat that you think is worthy, my community over on, it's called Stitcherhood. I have this awesome community, you guys, and it's kind of blowing my mind a little bit because I started it in early April, end of March, early April, and I've had a membership organization for, I guess it's been about a year and a half, and I have this amazing group of all women actually who have just joined me for this membership where we just recycling textiles of any kind. If you're, there's a couple people who are entrepreneurial, there's people who are hobbyists, there's people who have tons of experience and have worked in the industry for many years, and we connect each week live and do like a studio hour. And I thought, this is so rich and beautiful. I would love to have this include a few more people. So back in early April or late March, I can't remember now exactly the date, but I started a community on a platform that's called Mighty Networks. And Mighty Networks is sort of like Facebook without the ads or the algorithm. So, which makes it really different than Facebook actually. So anyway, in the first 30 days, I had over 1,000 members in my little free community there. And it started to take on this amazing life of its own and just be like this really rich and interactive place for all of these amazing people from all over the world. I mean, there's members from Europe and Japan and Australia, and I'm not sure if we have Asian members, but all of the United States. And it's just like this awesome place where people are able to gather and share ideas. And it became a lot of my job. And I just thought, you know what, I can't do this for free. So I just changed it over. So the beta test is done. July 1st, it goes to a paid platform. There's 2 different buy-in levels. You can get a $10 membership, $10 monthly, or a $50 membership, $49 monthly. And there's different benefits for each level. The $10 one is like entry. You get all the feed and everything. And the $49 model, you get me with live coaching once a week for an hour. It's group coaching, sewing, recycling textiles. Hey, I've got this beautiful sweater I want to recycle. How do I do it? Or whatever questions come up. And it's a wonderful, wonderful supportive group of people who meet on a weekly basis. And every month within Stitcherhood, we have what we call the monthly challenge. And this month, the month of June, it's a sun hat challenge. So if you've made a sun hat and you want to enter it in the challenge of the month over there on Stitcherhood, you could win an annual membership to what we call our collaborator members. Those are that's the $49 monthly buy-in rate. So it's like a $500 prize. So And you can go and check out StitcherHood free of charge. You get a 7-day free trial. We will not charge your credit card unless you choose to stay. Like after, you'll get an email from us saying, hey, in 3 days, we're going to charge your credit card if you are still around. So it's really like, there's no gimmicks. There's no like hard, if you decide 2 months in that you're just not into it, you're not using it, whatever, you can always like unsubscribe, come back in if you want to a couple months later, depending on what works for you. So I put a comment in the very top of the feed on YouTube and Facebook with a link to StitcherHood, so you guys can check it out if you haven't already had the opportunity to do that. And enter your sun hat. I want to see your sun hat. And when you go, like if you're watching me right now and you have a sun hat that you want to enter, or that you finished during these little sessions that we've done together, let me know. Like, I want to see pictures, you guys. It's so hard. Like, I'm used to teaching in person, and teaching here in Cyberland. I'm like, hello, is there anybody out there? I see these little like things go up, or like little emojis go by, but I'm like kind of a people person, so it's nice to see actual pictures, if you have them, of what you've created during these 4 sessions together. Okay, so the Mary F is asking if I could please post the link here for the $10 entry level. Mary, tell me if you can do this, and I'm gonna watch the comments. Can you scroll to the top of the comments on, I think you're on YouTube, can you scroll up there and see that? And if you click on that link that I put in the very top of the feed, it'll take you to a page where you can choose the plan. And the $10 plan is called Curious, and the $49 plan is called Collaborator. So you can choose, you can check it out. You'll have 7 days of free trial regardless of which plan you choose, and you can see which one is going to work better for you. So thank you for your interest, and let me know in the comments if you have trouble accessing that link, because I can post it again if needed. So let me check and see what other comments we've got. In the past, I have recycled and reused clothing and linens for projects. I did this mostly for repairs, mending, and making do with what I had so I could stay at home. I could be a stay-at-home mom. You know what? That's awesome, right? Like, you're able to like reuse things so that you're not spending money and you can hang out with your kids, right? And you're reducing the need for additional manufacturing, which there's so many things about that are not so great for the environment, like, the pollutants involved with manufacturing, with transport, with all the, agriculture that's involved. I just recently read, I've been reading about commercial garment production, and like it takes over 700 gallons of water to make the one cotton t-shirt. That's enough. I think they were on the stuff I was reading about. It said that's enough water for one person to drink for like 1,000 days, I think they said. Like, that's 3 years, nearly 3 years, right? Like, holy crow. So if you can reuse, if you can mend, if you can buy recycled and wear recycled, you're really having a positive impact on the environment. And, sometimes we all get personally, I get all like, oh my gosh, the environmental crisis is like so huge, it's much bigger than I am. I just, what do I do? Well, what I do is what I do. And I'm hoping that I can inspire us to build our impact together. And that's another thing about StitcherHood is we track, like if you want to, you can enter how many pounds of clothing or scrap fabric you recycle each week, and we keep track of it. And so we've only been doing that for 2 weeks. And so far, both of those 2 weeks that we've tracked, and with just the members who knew about it and who were inspired to contribute to that post, we've recycled over 100 pounds each week. So that's kind of awesome. And when you can look at that as like what you're a part of over time, I think that it has a lot of meaning, and it allows us to feel like we're part of the solution, right? Like we're part of what the good things that are going on in the world. Okay, so I think that Catherine over on, Catherine is in need of a link. I'm going to post that in a minute. And Vinu is from Mauritius. Mauritius, yeah. That sounds cool. I want to go there. I bet you it's hot there. Is it hot there, Vinu? It's hot here, and I live in Massachusetts, so I can only imagine. And people are familiar with the G. Sven quilts. I tell you, there's like, when I walked into that show, I was at the Whitney Museum in New York City when I saw it years ago now. And I walked in there and I was just like, I felt like I was home. I was like, oh my goodness, these people, it looked like something that like my ancestors must have made because I make what I make. Like the blanket behind me is made out of recycled sweaters. And I walked in there and they just like had all like their denim blankets made out of work jeans where you can see like where the fronts of the jeans were because they're all worn, and like it just really reminded me of something that was so heartfelt, and it was like it had so much energy in it, right? From the people who made them to the people who wore the clothes to the people who decided that it was the end of that jeans life as a pair of jeans, and let's move it into something that will serve as well. Oh, and Vinu says it's currently winter. Yeah, it's not winter here. To be quite honest, I'm not even sure where Mauritius is. And I'm sorry, I'm like, you know, American educated. We don't learn about like geography around the world. And my dad was from Ireland and he knew every single country in Africa. He knew every single flag all over the world. I took my kids to Ireland a couple of years ago and they went to school there and they learned all about the geography all over the world. And I was just like, wow, we really miss out in the United States on that. So I'm going to look it up and make a point of educating myself about Mauritius. It sounds cool. So let's see. I'm going to scroll through some comments. So pardon me while I'm squinting at my camera here so I can see. Let's see. I got some people laughing, clapping. That's awesome. Thank you. In the past, I've recycled. We talked about that already. And yeah, the G. Sven quilts. Kaz Quinn says, I have used scraps for bunting all the time, and now I have moved on to some small tote bags from fabric sample books that I was given, and now I've made a blanket out of kids' old clothes for a school class. How cool is that? And really great example, Kaz. Thank you for reminding me. When you make stuff, whether it's a blanket, a hat, whatever, like no matter what it is that you're making, tote bags, anything. If you're making it out of fabrics that have been given to you, when I say fabrics, it could be, you know, clothing, outgrown clothing, whatever, that have been given to you or passed down to you from someone who is meaningful, or like a school class, like to make a blanket from every, you know, a piece of clothing from each kid in a school class, just, it kind of ties those kids together as a legacy, right? Like that blanket's going to far outlast those kids being in that one classroom for that 1 year. And it's just kind of a testament to the power that we have to create these legacies and meaningful craft, right? So you're not like knitting another sweater that may or may not fit, or making another quilt out of fabrics that you went out and bought, and do they go, and do I like them, and did I get enough of each thing? No, this is like a whole different way of approaching craft with an environmental and a deeper level of meaning to serve to nurture you, right? To nurture you, to nurture your, you know, your legacy building. You're making a history with something that could easily have been just tossed in the Goodwill box or the landfill. So it's so cool to see this. Just, you know, the level of interest right now on Stitcherhood, and like, you know, I started doing this in 1987 and people thought it was really weird. They were like, oh my God, is it clean? Like, recycled? And you go to the thrift store? Oh my God. Well, you know, I like to take full credit for making thrift stores really cool. Not really, but it certainly has changed since 1987, where now there's like this open conversation and this like very cool aware movement toward using what we have and being able to think creatively with all the materials available in the thrift store, and just being able to, you know, mend something and feel proud of it and not ashamed that, you know, maybe you couldn't afford to buy something new. That's really not what it's about now. Whereas back in the 80s, that's kind of the judgment that people passed oftentimes on people who wore secondhand clothing. So I'm really glad to see that Chris C. Silverman is an aspiring recycler of everything. That's so awesome. And we have a textile creative who always uses secondhand clothing. Like, hello, my kindred spirit. Thank you for being here. That's so awesome. And somebody's making scarves, pillows, and lavender sachets, working on my first potholder rug. All right, Mary Murphy, you go, girl. Mary Murphy, I just have to say, you are awesome. Mary Murphy is someone I've never met in person, but we're friends, and she sends me the best links to the coolest upcycled, recycled, textile, anything to do with recycled textiles. This girl is a wizard. She knows where to find all the cool stuff. And other people are using all discarded material woven by Kim. That's awesome. And Kim, are you a weaver? Because I used to be a hand weaver, and it's expensive to weave, but if you can use a little bits when you're finished, you know, making things with it, you can recycle those in some cool way, I'm sure. So yeah, I think I got all the comments here. Let's see. Oh, cool. Vinu, her mom makes scrunchies out of damaged clothing. That's awesome. And yeah, she makes earrings out of broken old jewelry. That's so cool. I've seen some of that work here and there, just like, and the way people collage things together is always just so personal and cool. So we're onto something. This is a movement, and we can really make change happen. We can take the global waste crisis that we're all experiencing at this moment in time and turn it around, because we have the power as people, and creativity and fun are key components. Because I feel like one thing that happens a lot when we start talking about environmental crisis is people just get overwhelmed with the urgency and the, you know, it seems so much bigger than us. And my view is to make it real small. Take care of yourself first. Look at your own textile waste that you're creating in your own home, and figure out ways to keep that from being landfilled, to share it with others who might need it for their craft projects. Use it for your own craft projects. Reach out to friends who may or may not be creative and may not think about the value of the materials that they're no longer using in their own closets, and have a lot of fun with teaching those people that there is so much value in things that they might not need anymore. So with that all said, I just want to reiterate and repeat for anyone who's joined us in the last few minutes that this is the 4th day in our Sun Hat sessions, and I just want to show you a couple of the sun hats that I made here, and I would sure love to see some sun hats that you guys made. These are all made out of recycled textiles, old clothing, some scrap fabrics from upholstery shops and the like. We've got machine sewn and completely hand sewn samples, just to prove that you don't need to know how to use a sewing machine or be comfortable using one to make a sun hat. And this month in my membership organization, which I like to call my community, is Stitcherhood. The full name is Crispina's Stitcherhood Recycling Society. There's a link at the very top of the comments on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. I will put a link to it in my Instagram. I think there's one actually in the link tree if you look on Instagram. And you can enter your sun hat in our monthly challenge and win a full year subscription to our premium buy-in, which is called Collaborators, at a value of $497. And all you have to do to enter is post a picture of your sun hat using the topic, which you'll see when you get to the platform. Pick the topic, challenge of the month, and post a picture. And you're entered, and we will be choosing the winner early next week. So you'll know whether or not you're in there for a free year of Collaborators, which is super fun. So I just want to thank you all for joining me for this nice 4-day little series of free classes learning how to make your own sun hat. And if you do run across questions and you're confused about anything we went over today, please do post them in the comments. I do check them and we'll respond as promptly as possible. And in the meantime, have a really great rest of your day. I do lives every Thursday at noontime. Always a different little teaching tutorial or sewing, weaving, textile-oriented tips and tricks about recycling and being environmentally kind and creative and having fun, which might be the most important component. So I hope you have a great day. See you Thursday.